A while back I broke a frame on one of my early Blackbugs 3s, and back then I wasn't aware of much in the way of options to repair it. So I went ahead and bought a new frame, which at the time only cost 10 to 15 bucks. They're up to about 25, 30 now. Here's a little bit of footage of how I broke it. I lost contact with it and it came down hard on a playground. Fortunately no kids around, so that was a good thing. So I picked up the pieces. This Bugs had a fairly hard life, so I wasn't totally surprised. And this is what it was like when I got it home and put it on the bench. It got me back into soldering. I was able to reuse the ESC, just needed a new frame. This is more recently. This is Wollonga Beach, where I had a couple of crashes on the day. At the time I just brushed it off and carried on flying. Got it home and realised I had hairline cracks on the frame, so this time I got nerdy with a bit of Araldite, and I'm now confident I can continue to fly this airframe for a while. I'll just keep an eye on it and see how it goes. It's the only red one I've got, all the others are black. And the other thing in terms of reliability, here's the standard connector XT30 where you plug in your battery, and here's what I've done to the red one. I've soldered on a couple of extension wires to positive and negative. I stick out beyond the Bugs and I can, with a T connector on, so I can plug my favourite kind of battery in. And that should be a much more secure connection, I think. So I had to cut a couple of little grooves in the top plate of the red one, as you can see, compared to a black one, and that seems to work fine. So this is the Y1 camera I use for 1080p 60 frames per second, and I'm very happy with. That's a replacement that I bought for the other one, which is this, where I managed to scratch the lens in a crash. As it turned out, on AliExpress I was able to buy a lens that fitted. I couldn't buy one direct from Xiaomi or the manufacturer, but this does a beautiful job. And the bits of paper around it, that's how I focused it, by screwing it most of the way in and moving it around, taking test footage and seeing when I finally had it focused. This one is slightly damaged. It doesn't have a working microphone anymore, unlike the replacement one. What damaged it was when I had it mounted in my case. This is flexible plastic. The first attempt was using aluminium, and in a crash that's what broke the screen of the camera and the microphone. But hey, it still works, so I'm happy with that. So the way I mount it is typically I'll slide this in at the bottom. That's the top where the hole is to operate the camera. So that goes in there. This comes in from this side, so I can just lift it into position. It slides in. And there it is behind its sunglass neutral density sunglass. And the way it gets mounted on the Bugs, which you've probably seen in my other videos, is with 4 rubber bands, 2 on each side. So the idea is if a rubber band comes loose, well, I'm still okay during the flight. So get one at either side, screw it up a bit, turn it around so you can see a bit more. And then the next one for safety. The other one on this side. And then it's just trial and error. You want the thing forward a little bit, not too far down, or when you're skimming along low, you see too much ground. You want a bit of sky in it, and actually having a little bit of prop in the way is not really a problem. So that's the way I've been flying and filming. So with the EIS and the camera, and the dampening effect of the rubber bands and the protective rubber tube cover, that seems to work out really well. So finally, with the new attachment for the battery, I like these model truck batteries. I think the Dean's connection or T connectors are far better than the XT30 in terms of reliability. And now that that is soldered directly to the connector, rather than using a cable that can fall out, it just gives me a level of security as I fly over the sea. However, if I want to, I can pull out the model truck battery. And by the way, I always try and put the data board on so I know how long I've been running them. And I can put an original battery, of which I have one here, mainly because Gearbest delivered the wrong drone to me. And that still fits in the standard hole and fires up the drone. I don't like these XT30 connectors. They're better now than they used to be, but even so, occasionally when you pull them out because it's a tight fit, you can damage the fitting. The other thing, so initially when I started using the T-connectors, I was using an adapter that I made up myself like this, which has got a XT30 on one end and the T-connector on the other. And it was the last flight down the beach, Sullivan's Beach, that I realised that this had come a little bit loose. And I thought, gee, if that happens in the air over the sea, I'm gone. So that's what inspired me to make the direct solder connection, because I've seen a few other people doing it, particularly with the XT30, the EX2 Mini from the Ishin, which is a Bugs 3 copy, and other drones, so that people can use non-proprietary batteries. In this case, I'm all about improving reliability. So when I'm flying out there along with the Mavics and Phantoms out over the sea, but in a totally manual mode with no GPS, no return, and no altitude hold, I can be reasonably confident it's more likely to come home again. So, just a quick view of what I do and why I do it.